Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Uluyemi Adeosun. Tonight, we are honored and privileged to have with us one of our very own elected council member, Aminu Yawu, and he will be speaking to us on the topic, assessing the effectiveness of performance management in the public service. Assessing the effectiveness of performance management in the public service. I'd like to read this profile very briefly. Aminu Yawu is an accomplished professional with over 2 decades of experience in people management. His expertise spans organizational design and sourcing, manpower planning, employee engagement, mentoring, performance management, business analysis, and service. Exceptional interpersonal Aminu is dedicated to helping individuals and teams achieve their full potential. He holds a bachelor's degree from Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and a master's degree from Bayero University, Kano. Aminu is a member of several prestigious bodies, including the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, where he is a full member, and is also a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management and the Learning and Development Network International. Currently, he sits as the head of administration and human resources with the Joint Tax Board. He also sits on the council of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria as an elected council member, a position I'm privileged and honored to serve with him alongside. He has a passion for continuous learning and knowledge, and Aminu remains committed to advancing excellence in people management and organizational development. Tonight, speaking to us on the topic, assessing the effectiveness of performance in the public sector, I present to us elected member Aminu Yawu. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much, my high-ranking elected council member. My dear colleagues, good evening. I want to thank you for joining. It's not easy, returning from work and then taking your time rather than going to rest. However, looking at that, I specifically decided that this conversation is going to be in summary. I will not take much of your time. However, I will try to see that I give you room to talk, because performance management is something that, is so wide. People have different experiences. So God's willing, everybody will have chance to say something or to contribute in one way or the other. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to facilitate the session, so the talking will not be done by me alone. Of course, we are going to be talking about assessing the effectiveness of performance management in the public service. So today, we are going to look at public service. Performance management, how is it? The truth is, this is my own opinion, and I will say it, irrespective of how you, or the perspective you want to view performance management, the end result of performance management is productivity. So with this topic, it means we are going to interrogate the level of productivity in public service. And because public service is so wide, different ministries, agencies, and departments, we may not be able within this 30 to 40 minutes cover all of them. So we are only going to give an overview of what we are seeing, as what is happening in those organizations. So of course, like I said, it's going to be an analytical review of the public sector performance management system. And of course, my brother and Dr. did the introduction. This is a presentation of the HR Mentorship Learning Series. It's been hosted by our own Olemi Adeosun, PhD, MCIPM. So going into the topic, without waste of time, like I said, I will try to compress the discussion so that all those unnecessary talks, I will do away with them. I will just hit the salient points and we discuss around those points and we close. And, you know, we are going to, I will just give like a background. I will do that. I will give the background to put the topic into perspective, into context, what I want us to talk about. I will also give an overview of the current state of performance management in Nigeria's public sector. Together, me and you will now evaluate the effectiveness. That part of evaluation is going to be done by me and you. So all of us will be involved in that. After that, we just look at like case studies, look at some few countries, how they are running their, performance management and why they are where they are. We now conclude and go. So the background I want to give is something that we all know. I'm not going to take much of our time here. Because we are going to talk about performance management, I feel like it is important we now remind ourselves. I know we know, we all know what is performance management, but we know performance management is a systematic process used to assess and improve organizational performance effectively. So when we are talking about performance management, we are talking about how that organization can be gauged in terms of performance and identify those areas that need to be improved upon, and deploy all the mechanisms that are required to improve the process and what have you. And the main reason why you do any performance management in any organization is primarily to achieve the organizational goal, which means if you want to talk about performance management, the first thing you need to do is to be able to define the goal of that organization. What is the objective? Do you know the mandate? What is exactly the intendment of creating that, organization? Again, part of the reason why you need performance management is for accountability. What do I mean here by accountability? Is that if you are given a responsibility, you should be able to account for it. You should be able to explain in detail, step by step, those things that you were assigned to do. How were you able to deliver? If you cannot deliver, what are the reasons that you cannot deliver? You should be accountable. If it is your fault, you should be able to be, dealt with. If it's something that you require that is as a result of knowledge gap, you should be given opportunity to enhance your skills. If it is something that the constraint is for resources, that resources should be provided. That is about accountability. Accountability is just to look at what you are assigned to do at over a period of time. Look at it. How were you able to achieve that? Good. So of course, talking about performance management, we all know that it has components. Component in the sense that you need to establish a goal. Which type of goal? A SMART goal. We all know SMART. You need to have regular feedback. If you are giving people assignment, it's not for you to go and sit down waiting for them till during the assessment period. This particular regular feedback, we are going to talk about it. Is something that will come in the next chapter that we are going to discuss today. But the ideal situation is that you are able to establish SMART goal. There is regular engagement, engagement in the sense that discussion about how far you are going. What are the milestones achieved? What are the roadblocks? What are the hurdles? What are those things that will prevent you from achieving your goal? And of course, continuous engagement, with the employee and the performance appraisal method. Why is performance management important? Like I said, I'm honestly compressing the discussion so that we have enough time to discuss and close the session, because most of us are coming back tired from our various places of work. So why is it important, performance management, specifically in public sector? Because I'm narrowing down this discussion to public sector. Why performance management is in public sector is important. We all know that whether you are in private business or public sector, you are relying on public service to provide basic services, because there are basic services that are only provided by government. So, which means performance of the public sector, everybody should be interested. It's not about whether you are from public sector or you are from private sector. No. Once public sector is not doing well, it affects you and I. You and I will feel the, pain. So, if you recall, in 2004, specifically, I can't remember the month, but I think it's around May, April or May, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, deem it necessary to come up with an agency called Servicom. Servicom means Service Compact with All Nigerians. Servicom unit was created primarily to ensure that Nigerians, that is Nigerian public, are getting the services they deserve. Come to think of this thing. Because here you can see that I said the importance of performance management in public sector is to enhance service delivery. So in order, just to tell you how important this aspect is, an agency or a department was created, is still there, is still working, reporting to the president because it's under the presidency. It has a national coordinator called Servicom. Service Compact is all Nigeria. And if you go through the mandate of Servicom, you will see that it's talking about the right of Nigerian citizens to be served right. So it is very important that public service or public sector performance is enhanced. We just have no way of doing it other than improving the services, because we Nigerians, wherever we are, we rely on government to provide those services for us. If those services are not up to our standard, we are being shortchanged. Again, like I said in my previous slide, is that accountability is important. Performance management in public service is very important for accountability's sake. Government day in, day out is rolling out budgetary allocations to ministries, departments, and agencies. What are they doing with those monies being allocated to them? So for accountability, that performance is very important. Performance management for effective resource utilization, it is very important. So now, like I said, I only give you an overview of performance management. This is not all. Performance management is so wide. I just feel like it's night and we are returning from work. So that one will just prepare us to understand what we are going to talk about here. So what is the current state of performance management in Nigeria's public sector? That is the next issue. Because with this now, we are able to understand or have idea of ordinarily what performance management should be. How are we doing it in the public service? First of all, we need to understand the structure of the public service. We all know that Nigerian public sector consists of numerous ministries, departments, and agencies of government. which are essential for governance. And their roles, is to provide services, policy implementation, and public administration. This is their role. So now, what do we have presently? I'm going to be honest with you because I want you to help me in analyzing this situation. What we have presently, we have periodic evaluation anywhere you go in any ministry. But the question is, what is the period? I can tell you some agencies, you do evaluation after 3 years. When staff are due for promotion, they will now go and look for that form we call APA, fill it, their supervisor will endorse, and they submit. Of course, it's periodic since it has period. So I'm not saying, it's a quarterly, monthly, weekly. No, this one, I'm just giving you one of the examples that they do it when they are due for promotion. So if you are not due for promotion, you have no business with any evaluation. That's number one. And number two, this one, I'm not saying all ministries, departments, states, no. I'm just sampling because like I said, we have 36 states and FCT. We have 774 local governments. We have so many number of MDS. So you can't say you have everything the same across board. No, but we are just trying to come up with some scenarios. Reporting method. The problem we have now is that there are agencies, organizations, ministries. I tell you, they don't even have organogram. One, even if they have organogram, their staff don't have, it's not everybody that has specific job schedules. So the issue here is that you as my boss, you decide to give me job when you want to give me job. You decide which job I will do and which I will not do. If you have 2 or 3 staff reporting to you, nobody will say, this is my specific schedule. No, you just decide. That is one. Lack of consistency. Even within ministry, you will see that, or agency, one particular department, they have a structured organogram with clearly defined reporting line, staff having job schedules. You will see another department with nothing. It has become like something that is depending on the leader, head of that department or agency. As we speak, there is no comprehensive framework for performance management. However, the present, as at present, performance management system has been deployed at the Federal Civil Service, but it's not in every ministry or department or agency that is working. It's in pilot phase. So I'm not saying that there is nothing complete. We have started. We are on a process. We are hoping to get somewhere because I must say that quite a very good initiative has been put in place, a very robust performance management system, which CIPM is part of it. We are working with that. But I'm trying to say, there are still some states, in the federation that have a semblance of this that I'm talking about. So, you know, this, I only highlighted some of the issues. We are going to look at them in a more broader terms. Even the performance management that I said the head of service is implementing now, it is facing a lot of challenges. One of the challenge is competence. I must tell you, you know, most of us are seeing training as so expensive. But remember that saying that said, if you think training is expensive or knowledge is expensive, why not try ignorance? Quite a number of agencies, if you look at their the percentage of their training budget compared to their overall annual expenditure, you will know that they are not serious when it comes to issue of capacity building. And that saying that says you can't give what you don't have. If you didn't train your staff, what do you expect them to give you? This is a knowledge era. Whatever type of work you want to do, it has to be from the perspective of knowledge. Of course, resource limitations is another issue. The budgetary constraint now, even if there is budget, you will see that it's so meager. The training you want to take your staff for, you will see that is so expensive that you cannot afford. In reality, if you are to compare it with what they are going to give you in return as your ROI, it's not expensive. But because the resources is so limited, so compared to what you have as your budgetary allocation, you will see it as expensive. And again, you know, we have one attitude, a very bad attitude. Your office will send you for 5 days training, Monday to Friday. You will go and negotiate with the training vendor that let him close the training by Wednesday. And you will eventually do 3 days and shut down the program, get your certificate and return. I don't know whether he will be able to impart all the knowledge, 5-day training to you within 3 days or not. I wouldn't know, depending on how you structured the training. And, you know, sometimes because of our, you know, nature, a training that is supposed to last for only 2 days will now broken down into like 5 days. Now, like I said, this is where me and you will now talk. Let's look at this because I'm able to give like an overview, provide a background. So we are going to assess what is happening. And the way I want us to do it, I just want to give us this idea. We all know we are in Nigeria. Why don't we have constant light? Because it's about productivity. If somebody is doing his job, there should be light. If me and you, because I believe that in every organization, if each individual staff member will do his job, the aggregate contribution of each staff of that organization will form the overall performance of that organization. So, in trying to look at this, remember I mentioned to you that there are some organizations or some ministries that you will go, you will see staff has no job schedule, defined job schedule for him. So whether he is at work or not, nobody cares because he really don't have anything to do. I want to remind you something. I want to take you back small. If you all recall, 2020, when COVID, invaded us, the federal government asked or directed staff from level 12 downward to work from home. But the truth is, even as at that time, not now, as at that time, the infrastructure needed for them, specifically ministry workers, to work from home was not available. What do I mean by infrastructure? Like, say you have a laptop or a computer, desktop, whichever one at home, you have the software, one like enterprise resource planning software, something like that, that will make you do whatever you want to do from home, was not available as at that time. And again, don't forget, salary continue to be paid. Continue to be functioning, doing well. There was nothing, that was not working as at that time, even though level 12 downward. Sorry, okay, I was reading message. Okay, even though level 12 downward was not at work. So by implication, what this means is that with or without those level 12 downward, government will still continue. Which means those staff that were away from office and office was not affected, there were only additional baggage. Let's be honest. So now we are talking about performance management. If you have staff that don't have anything to do, but you are paying them salary, they are only nuisance. They constitute nuisance ordinarily to you. Of course, because government is giving service, you can say it's for social security. But that is a discussion of another day. There are very better ways by which you can handle social security. But then, in terms of performance, if we are talking about performance, those staff, if you ask them, Oga, which ministry are you working for? He will tell you, fine. Ask him, what is the mandate of your ministry? Don't be surprised, he cannot tell you. That's one. Secondly, my understanding of performance management, for you as an individual to be able to contribute, you need to align whatever contribution you are going to make to the overall objective of that organization. So you don't even know the mandate of the organization. Beyond that, we are talking about performance management. How many of these staff that clearly understand the roles and responsibilities of their organization? And it is only when you understand the role and responsibilities of either your department or your organization that you can be able, even you as a manager, to craft a KPI for your staff, for your subordinate. So the problem now is, in most ministries, departments, and agencies, I'm not saying for only federal government, across board, federal and state, because there are some states that are doing well, of course, places like Lagos, but there are quite a number of states in Nigeria that if you go today, in fact, let me give you one story. A friend of mine was given appointment in his state. So he went there on secondment from my organization. So one day, me and him were gisting. He now told me that they pay him his salary complete without any deduction. So he had to take it on his own to present himself to the state Board of Internal Revenue for them to assess him on monthly basis and tell him what he will pay as his payee. I was so disappointed. That day, I told him that I wish I'm the head of service of that your state, because you just can't imagine anybody coming to work in my state. I'm there sitting as head of civil service, and I cannot even design a way by which from our salary, and I will be paying you salary. Haba. This is completely out of, my imagination. This is about performance, because you need to even understand your job role. Because in this case, the person that is heading payroll, for example, that will run the salary without doing any deduction, honestly, he doesn't know what he is doing. And you can't blame, the country why we are where we are, because even we, the civil servants, that we are supposed to be the engine that will drive growth and development in this country, we are lacking in basic knowledge of our functions. There are so many instances like this. I don't want to be the only one talking, because I want you to come in here, because I say we are not going to take long. But look at this story that I posted on my screen now. This is a report. It's a very lengthy report. I would love you to please check this. Go and read it. DataPied. Google it. They have this report concerning Nigerian power expenditure. They said from 1999 to 2015 alone, Nigeria invested over 2.7 trillion naira in power sector. Do we have power? The truth is, whether we like it or not, it's about performance. Go down. Somebody is not doing his job. Somebody is being compromised. It's because we need to understand our job. And this is not only about the junior officers. No, from top down. You as a leader, the very day you are given the responsibility to lead an organization, I believe if you want to make, as in write your story in gold, the first thing you need to do is you yourself understand what is the mandate of that organization. One, sit down, develop a strategic plan. You can do it for 3 years. If it's a tenure appointment, like for example, most of the tenure appointment in government is 4 years. If it were me, I will do just 2 years strategic plan to be able, to be able to assess what I've done at certain point. I wouldn't do like 4-year development plan. No, I wouldn't do 4 years. I will do 2 years strategic plan. From that strategic plan, I will ensure that each department in my organization key into my strategic plan. And I will make it a duty upon every head of department to ensure that his staff, that expectation is cascaded to each staff of their department, such that we can gauge, we can assess and measure the contribution of each staff in the service. So this is just, 1999 to 2015, 2.7 trillion naira invested. Don't forget, it's not only that too. Between 2018 to 2023, there was a budget of 829 billion naira. Beyond that, me and you, we are all aware of $2.3 billion Siemens deal. We can't explain. But the thing is, this, whether we like it or not, are performance issues. Performance issues. So please, I kindly invite you to look for this report and read it. That will open your eyes to how performance, poor performance, is affecting us and bringing us down as a country. Secondly, let's look at agricultural sector. We all know this discussion has been ongoing, specifically during Buhari's regime. You all remember the role played by the CBN governor concerning rice production, millet, and what have you. Wheat, I mean. Up to today, we are importing rice. As you imagine our number in this country, we cannot produce what we will eat. We are importing virtually everything. is a performance issue. I tell you, initially I had wanted to, in fact, I had to remove it to give me time to just engage you briefly. But I had provided list of agricultural research institutes that we have in Nigeria. Come to think of it, what are they doing? What is their contribution so far? Different type of research institutes. So research in agriculture, I'm not talking about research in other aspects. No. Why, as we speak today, my uncle is a dealer of kola nut in Kano. But I tell you, he told me that the best kolas now, they are getting best kola from Abidjan, not Nigeria. And we too like eating kola. Whatever we will do, we use kola. But we can't produce enough kola that will service our need. Look at health sector. It is confirmed that over 16,000 doctors, Jaffa, they left Nigeria. 16,000. And this 16,000 did not include those that were trained abroad. These were trained by Nigerian universities. Not only that, over 14,000 nurses and midwives left Nigeria. So I won't stop here because I really want you to talk because our time is past spent. I want you to, maybe let me start with our own doctor. I don't know, doctor, are you there? This is a conversation that I want us to talk, as in everybody, let's share ideas because at the end of the day, we are looking for a solution. Let's share ideas. Princess, my princess, good evening, ma. Aha, doctor is here. Doctor, please. I don't know if you follow my line of thought.
We want Princess to talk first, though. She's a senior principality.
Okay, doctor. Thank you so much, sir.
Public service experience.
Exactly.
Both abroad and Nigeria.
Thank you. And she will give us a bridge of
yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. My princess.
Good evening, sirs. Good evening, my ogas there. Thank you very much. I'm really humbled and always honored, to contribute my little experience and share knowledge. This is a very interesting topic. It is a topic that determines our performance, the productivity, and at the end of the day, how our performance is. If there's a saying that what cannot be measured cannot be managed. If we are not able to measure whatever it is that our staffs are doing, then we'll not be able to manage them. And if we're not able to manage them, then we cannot get the best in terms of performance, in terms of productivity. And the public sector in particular, Alhaji Aminu has said a lot of things about those things that are wrong with the system. People that are just there under the radar, doing nothing. There needs to be an overhaul of the entire performance management system. Because in Lagos State, we needed to move, when I was in Lagos State, we needed to take ourselves out of the HAPA. The HAPA form, we have what is called SPADEM. We have a totally complete, where competencies were first of all put in place. So for every job role, there's a competency framework that has been put beside that. So it's not about you coming to do the work. There's a competency that goes with your job role that you must, have. And of course, there's also, the setting the KPIs, setting, the JDs. A lot of times, one of the things that is happening is that they do a broad promotion exam. So it's not about somebody being promoted and you're fitting into a new role in line with your progression. Some people are promoted and believe you me, they're still doing the same job. No new targets are set for them. No new competencies are set for them. No new JDs are set for them. Nothing, no new KPIs. They are busy because there's so many of them that have been promoted all at the same time. You can have that level 13 officers, admin officers, and all of them are promoted all at the same time. You maybe for a position that is only 10, and you have almost 100 people that have been promoted. So they can't fit them into anywhere. And you know, when I was in the UK, what we do is that we have two different types of promotion. We have one that is called a level transfer. Level transfer means that if I am in a particular ministry as a level 13 officer in the Ministry of, let's say, for example, in the Ministry of Health, and then there's a position that has opened for a level 13 officer in the Ministry of the Environment, I can do a level transfer where I will go through the process, I'll do the interview. So I am replacing another body in that ministry. In that wise, I am still on the same level, but I am having the experience and knowledge of working in another ministry. The other one is the progression one, where you actually see a position. I'm a level 13 officer, but there's a level 14 position that is open. I can then sit whatever it is that maybe it's a competency test, maybe it's an interview, maybe it's a written exam, whatever it is, I can then sit in competition with other people and vie for that position. That's exactly what they're trying to do now with the positions of directors and permanent secretaries. I know that in federal, they're just starting that, but Lagos State has started that for a while. As permanent, when I was going to become a permanent secretary, I sat exams. I went through different stages, about 4 different stages. They were shortlisting and shortlisting and shortlisting until it got, to the final stage where we were then selected and appointed as permanent secretaries. So the first crux of the thing is that we must look at how performance management is being put in place. How are we managing those performances? What are the things? Are we still doing it the old school way as if we are doing personnel management? Or are we following the steps of HR? Are we putting everything in line with the HR ways of doing things? Because if we're going through that step, then we need a total overhauling, where the first thing you need to do is to have your jobs, where we'll have the different job roles, and there will be competency levels that everybody needs to have to fit into those job roles. And then there will be job descriptions so that the people that are coming, they know the job description, and then they have the competency to fit into those roles. And then you set the KPIs, because the KPIs are what is going to help you to monitor their targets. Are they meeting the targets? What have they set for them? Are they meeting them? Are they able to? There has to be monitoring. There has to be a lot of, before you do your performance management, because performance management in most of the public services are they are subjective, they are not objective. Sometimes some people don't even do anything. They are no longer in that ministry, and they will be taking their performance forms for that person that was not even their boss to fill it for them. I don't understand. There's a lot of things that has gone wrong that we totally need to overhaul it. In Lagos State, we're trying to do it that is even online, where everybody, you fill in your performance thing, you do everything, and it gets there. There's a record, there's something that's got a letter day. Before the performance, there's also performance review, so that as you're doing it, they're also reviewing it. It's not the day that you are going to do it that they'll tell you that you've scored very low, because they need to be reviewing and monitoring your performance. There's something that's called PDP, not as in the political party. It's personal development plan. That's what the PDP means, personal development plan, where you are already saying that, oh, this person, the competency they need is for them to be able to type, to use the computer very well, but they don't have that competency. So we need to do a personal development plan for them so that they can catch up, so that they can, because it is only when people are able to do their work, that's when they'll be able to deliver. And that's when customer service delivery and customer experience will come into play. That's when we'll be able to deliver. That's when we'll be able to, perform optimally in whatever it is that we're doing. I remember you were talking about, the Servicom. We have our own, we call it service charter in Lagos State, because we found out that the way Servicom, Lagos State, they can do shakara too much. We found out that because I was in Abuja, it was Dr. Famro that was doing it then. Dr. Famro, I'm sure you know her, Christiana Famro, under President Obasanjo at the time. We came to Abuja, we came to benchmark, what they were doing in Servicom and all of that. And then we decided to do ours in a customized way that will suit the public service of Lagos State. So we called our own service charter. And everything is also geared towards ensuring that, there's accountability, there's transparency, there's customer experience, so there's timeliness. There's the service charter has 5 pillars for the service delivery. The 5 pillars are the services that you provide. You must be able to provide that services top notch. There's timeliness, the time with which you come to work, that you do the work and you deliver the work. There's also what we call accountability. You must be able to draw everybody. There's transparency, so everybody knows what you're doing. Whoever is coming, they will look at your charter, they understand the mandate of your ministry, they understand your deliverables, they understand what to expect. Then there's professionalism. Every staff must be professional in whatever they're doing, professional in their outlook and cerebrally professional. You don't want to get to a ministry and they say, what are they doing in your ministry? You don't know the mandate of your ministry. That's not professional. If you don't know the mandate of your ministry, you cannot deliver on that mandate. You cannot fit into what it's doing. You cannot see the overall vision, not just of your ministry, but of the entire state or the entire workforce. You will not know it. And of course, there's a staff attitude, which is the worst in all of the pillars. Staff attitude, because everyone thinks that they're doing you a favor as a customer. Every public servant believes that they are in their position to do their customers a favor. Until we start looking at all of these things, until we start, revamping the entire system, we will never be able to get that peak performance, properly. Thank you. I think I've spoken enough. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Francis. Honestly, you have given us another perspective, or you have, bring it out more. And I've seen my brother from Kaduna, Mr. Hama Kwajapa. He has raised his hand. Doctor, I want to allow him speak.
Yes, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Lajaminu, FCMI, FCIPM. What you are talking is a serious maladies in our country, because up to today, we've not been able to balance the recurrent and capital expenditure of our budget in this country. And yet we are overemploying, and we're not making these workers productive. Most of the junior staff are trading. They're not even doing their job. You go there, they are trading. Some people are trading for puff. I mean, how can you employ people, paying them salaries, and they're not doing anything? And everybody sees it visibly. We should not make employment as a political favor, because this is now to discourage the whole civil service. And head of service will be there. He or she will see all these malpractices, redundancy, and the political heavyweights are not helping matters. Somebody will employ 180 heads. A Bauchi State governor of recent I've just had. How can you employ such people and check their performance? There's definitely no way. And nothing like performance schedule of duties. So what is our role as CIPM in this country to see how to address these issues? Because employment is not a gift, it's not a political appointment. It is supposed to be checked properly. Because this kind of things they are doing, it will affect all the civil service of those who have competence and who want to do the work. And promotion is not done on merit, but pure sycophancy. It's because you go and greet a guy every day, this, and that is it. You just score you high on performance without checking your schedule. So there's a lot we'll have to do in the public sector if we have to grow as a country. And what is the role of CIPM?
Thank you so much, sir.
What?
Honestly, I think you have said something that is very important for us to take note, which is to say, that issue of at the point of appraisal, you just look, people are getting sentimental or emotional. You look at personal relationship and score somebody high, That is why this topic, like I said, is not a topic that we will treat within 30, 40 minutes. It's a very broad topic, wide, that there are so much to talk about. But at least, the important message here is for all of us to wake up, is to ignite this, to spark this, thinking, how to change things in all our areas, wherever we are working. Let's begin to look at performance management is beyond the theory we are reading in books, is beyond the KPI appraisal. Are we really concerned about the outcome? It's not just about me and you as my boss, assessing me, passing, whatever I'm doing. Overall, the aggregate contribution of each staff, is it speaking to the mandate of the organization? How are the Nigerian populace benefiting from that, activity, that mandate of that organization? Is the organization achieving its primary objective? That is the focus of this discussion. And thank you so much, sir. I want to call on...
I just want to one point.
Yes, sir. Yes,
because
sir.
you mentioned the power sector. And you know that it may not be the fault of the personnel, because the national grid, the megawatts produced, cannot be taken by the transmission. We may have 10,000 megawatts, but then the transmission cannot take all of that. Maybe they can only take maximum of 4,000 megawatts.
Yes.
And you see how we are wired. People are wiring their electricity underground. But everything of us is overhead up to today. Go to developed countries, you don't see wirings like that. So a lot has to be done in the power sector for us to improve. And what I'm trying to tell council is that they should write memo to the head of service, whatever it is. When council decides on something, we should always write memo to the government so that they look into it. Because we don't continue firing them with memos, they'll just relax as if everything is okay at the head of service or at the public service. So we need to be apt and do lots of things. When council decides certain things, it should pass the memo to the government so that we show our concern. Because if we just relax and pile our recommendation in the head office and then we file and nothing is being done and there's no follow-up, then we become also part of the public service with docile ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And it's good that we have like 3 elected council members on this call. I want to believe that they have heard you and your message will be taken to the leadership. Thank you so much. I can see Mr. Tunde. Mr. Tunde Malik, your hand is up. Can you unmute and speak, please? Just that, let me say that we intend to wrap up this session by, let's say, 9:15. Initially, we wanted to close it at 8, but because of the interest that people are showing to contribute, we can push it with like 15 minutes so that we can take a small contribution. But kindly, I will request that go straight to the point, be precise so that we take as many contribution as possible. So Mr. Tunde, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yau. And
Yes, sir.
the two contributors, like you said, yes, I'll be very brief too. You know, I just feel that I should make my contribution. I decided at the beginning that I'll just listen to professionals like you, Ajosh, and no, but what Princess, the PAMSEC, and the last submission from senior colleagues, you know, they are very instructive. And your topic today is a very, like you said, we cannot treat everything today because that is the bane in the public sector, in the public service. It's so huge that you that in public service, you find out that like you said, whatever we are learning or we are trying to implement as HR, you find out that it's not just working, and you will be asking yourself the question why. It is because at the beginning it is not well defined. Like you said, at the point they will just promote like 130 or 80 people together want to be on the same cadre. How do you do performance? How do you do assessment? Because at the beginning, employment in public service seems like political. It is not based on needs based. There is no needs assessment, what you call personal audit. Do we need these social people to be on board? So we just employ what they call mass employment. And at the beginning, as they're coming on board, they don't even have clarity of what they do, what they're going there to do as their role. So I think, like Oga said, the last statement made by the last person that spoke, that letters should begin to fly into head of service. I mean, at the level of federal. I work in the federal civil service. I work in the federal public service. I work in the petroleum sector. But I think it's gradually working now. You know, if you remember the last head of service, Dr. Folashade, so she has introduced the human PMS that you talked about. Performance management system, and she's so keen about that because the performance and assessment in the public service is almost zero. Like Princess said, we use APA, some progressive and clear MDAs too, like where I work. They've jettisoned APA because it's heavily subjective. It's not subjective. It's when you do eye service, whatever, and somebody will just call you 80, 90, then you are promoted. No, it has to be real performance management system. And I think the responsibility is on us that are scattered around the public service and are professionals to begin to truly implement it where we are. And by the time we continue doing that, I think one day, sometimes, the public service will become productive and performance will be, one of our core, whatever. A lot of people, you have said it all, so I don't need to repeat some of the facts that you have said. The number two is that PAMSEC says something about coming into service and you go to maybe from Ministry of Health to Environment. Of course, it's done in federal civil service too, but the fact is that they are not done in line with what we can say. Yes, this person is being transferred to Ministry of Health, for instance, to Foreign Affairs to go there and do a particular way. The transfers are done based on, I'm interested in going there to, quote and unquote, you know what I'm talking about, interest. So until we begin to look at it objectively that, okay, this person, you go to this ministry, go and make your impacts, develop a strategy, develop policy, support people, enhance growth, do performance and everything. Then we can begin to say this is what is right, and these are the things that we should do. But I think we still have a long way to go in public service. In private sector, I think they're getting it right because KPI are attached to financial benefit and some other things. In federal civil service or in public sector, in Yoruba, they call something ogota. I don't know, maybe Dr. Ali, I mean, we have been translated in English. That you work or no work, you get your pay. These are the things that people who do in public service. But I think we can do better. Thank you very much for your submission and everyone too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really enjoy your contribution. So let's quickly take Nike, are you there? Okay, if Nike is not around, I will invite Madam Saadat Farouk Saadat Farouk, are you there? Do you want to say a word or two?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, our princess. Good evening, Dr. Dioshu, our other professional colleagues on the call. Good evening and well done, our dear speaker. You know, like I stated earlier in the chat box, I said this is a very, very nice and apt topic. I'm particularly happy about it because in my office, some 3 years ago, we gave our institutional capacity assessment to a consultant to do. And by the time they finished the assessment, a couple of deliverables came out of it. And one thing that stood out was the performance management. Up until now, we haven't even been able to institutionalize it, so to say. Division has been created for it, but to take off is a problem because even the leadership does not understand it.
Yes.
That is where the major problem lies. Most of the leaders don't even understand it. So when you come up with the various strategies to achieving at least 40 to 50% of the implementation strategy, it becomes a huge problem because they don't even understand. So that for me is even the starting point. We are talking about competency gap, competency framework and stuff. A lot of organizations don't even have their own strategic imperatives in place.
At all.
So if you don't even have your benchmark set right, how do you measure? How do you
Nothing.
measure against what? What do you use?
You can't.
So it's a big problem. And we're just all trying to struggle around it. Now everybody is thinking it because it's one of the pillars for the current administration. But we need to be honest and tied to it, you know, to see that we deliver it. You know, so my organization as it is right now, what we're doing is picking people in different cadres and creating the awareness. Because if the line managers don't even understand, yeah, we will even have the strategic documents for the next 5 years. It's actually expiring this year. If it's expiring this year, and this year is already April going to May, and we have not been able to even implement the PMS, what are we talking about? So there's that continuous misunderstanding, misalignment, and all. We are desirous of having efficiency. We are all desirous of that. But do the right thing that can give you this outcome has become a big problem. People are just comfortable to just pick that upper and do favoritism. Oh, he comes to greet me. Oh, he's my boy, he's my girl. Sometimes I tell myself it's not because they don't understand it, but I think they just think that it's going to be a deviation from the business as usual. And you know, people are changed. So that has been dragging the whole process. And I pray that one day we'll get it right so that the public sector can be equally as efficient as we all desire to see. Thank you very much. I love the topic. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you so much, Madam. Let me call on the immediate past chairperson of Kaduna State Branch. I saw her on the call. I would love her to say, because she has the experience, she's a very senior colleague. Don't know if she is still there.
Kindly mention her name so that we can make her a co-host.
Oh, okay. Her name is Madam Sukunda Yakubu. Is she there? Okay, if she is not there, let me invite Lydia Kwatwa. Lydia Kwatwa is the immediate past chairperson, is the chairperson of Plateau State branch of CIPM. Lydia? Lydia, can you?
Lydia, you can speak now.
Sorry, my guy, sorry, I thought I had unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Actually, a lot has been said, which, like you said, it has stimulated so much thought in me. I think to leverage on what was said, if we as CIPM practitioners, our CIPM members, the HR practitioners, can like take it as a personal goal to drive these strategies at every level we find ourselves, like no matter how small our corner is, no matter how small our desk or power or authority is, if we can leverage on making sure the performance appraisal system under our own small corner is like void of biasness, or we bring in our professionalism, it will go a long way. Because the truth is, sometimes, most at times, we give up when we look at the overall problem of favoritism, of our bosses not being objective. We feel, okay, there's no point for me to also be different. Let me just go with the trend. Yes, this is my friend, this is my colleague, this is my in-law. We came a long way together in the civil service, therefore. So that thing keeps going. Like, it's a circle that keeps happening, that even when the younger generation comes into power, that same culture goes on, especially in the public sector. Like someone said, it's in the private sector it has been dealt with, but in the public sector we already have that problem. So I think it begins with us and our mindset. If we can just not give up, if we can just be resilient about pushing these little changes in our own corners, we'll go a long way to bring the change we desire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my sister. I think I will just take, Doctor, I will take one comment, then I hand over to you. Sorry, I conclude the session before I hand over to you, because time is fast going. I've seen my boss, a very senior colleague. Okay, Adiola, sorry, Isiam Adiola, I'll come to you. I wanted to invite Malam Bashir Umar, is a very senior colleague and performance management guru, just to say a word or two, because we are talking about performance management today. I don't know if he is still there. Malam Bashir Umar.
Malam Bashiru is here. You can unmute,
okay.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Malam, if you can hear us, please unmute.
Oh. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
Sorry, I joined the meeting late.
Oh, okay.
And but I had all the discussions that took place. But all I have to add here is that for us in a place like Federal Revenue Service, we've been practicing performance management for a while. It has been a challenging issue, particularly trying to have an objective appraisal system. It has been a challenge for us. But from the discussions I had today, I know it's something that we need to go back, all the public service agencies, to look into, to see how we can come about having a very, very objective appraisal system. That is what is going to help us in assessing productivity and possibly achieving the goals of each and every organization. I don't have much to say, since, as I said, I joined the discussions late, but maybe next time when there's another session, I'll be part of it and I will make meaningful contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So my ECM Adiola, high-ranking ECM.
Yeah, thank you very much, ECM Aminu. Thank you, ECM Oluyemi. Thank you, everyone on this call. And good evening to you. I just want to share my own experience on this. I want to say this topic we are discussing tonight is apt and is insightful sincerely. I've also gained so many things from the speaker, from the princess, and everyone that has contributed. You know, and funny enough, one of your slides that shows power sector, and when I saw it, I laughed because I've worked in the power sector. At least I've worked in 3 distribution companies, and I understand the space of performance management. And truly speaking, all the discos that are not doing well, it's actually performance management that affected them. Because if performance management system has been defined, like Princess said, that competency framework, if it has been developed for everyone's staff, and the JD, the KPI is developed, you know, so many of the discos will not be where they are today. And I speak to one in particular, one of the I worked with. it was until when we understand performance management system, and that was when the revenue of that discourse begin to shoot up. And we did not just understand the performance management system, we have to make from the top, from the MD CEO to the cleaner of that company. We made them understand what performance management is all about. Because the truth is, if the board of directors, the MD CEO, if they don't get the buy-in of performance management in the first place, is dead on arrival. So we have to walk them through it. And aside that, at the beginning of every year, we must put our staff in class to retrain them on performance management, because it is important. And before I left the company, we made sure that everybody understand what is meant by performance management. Yes, the issue of bias, you may not be able to eliminate it, but it was reduced and the performance of that company shoot up, all because we get the performance management system right. For all the circles of performance management system, we fulfill it and we got it right. So it was easy and the company's revenue increased. So the space of performance management in an organization cannot be overemphasized. That's why I said this topic is apt, and until every HR on this call understand performance management cycle, not just the first one, not just creating and JD, but from the first step of performance, we're planning KPI. And afterward, what is remaining? You monitor it, you evaluate, you reward, you promote. It's a circle thing. So until we finish that circle, that is when we can get the performance management in full. And again, I want to say thank you, our speaker. I've gained a lot too. And thank you, Dr. Oluyemi, for bringing our speaker to the discussion table tonight. Thank you, everyone on this call.
Thank you so much, my ECM. And of course, due to time, you will permit me to quickly wrap up and conclude the presentation so that we go and rest. Actually, the next line was to look at successful performance management models in other countries, places like Canada, Singapore, trying to benchmark them with Nigeria. We all travel. I know we all know in terms of public administration, what is obtainable in places like Canada and Singapore. You just can't compare, so I will not take much of a time. But specifically, there are lessons to be learned as long as we want to change. Because like I said, the idea of this session is to spark this urge for change. And like what somebody said, maybe we will need to have season 2 of this session to be able to digest and look at it from other perspectives. So lessons to be learned is that we must be deliberate in setting strategic goals in every organization. I listened to Mrs. Saadat Farouk. She spoke about this many a times, of course, with exception, to places like FRS, CBN, NNPC, this top-notch organizations in the public service. Ordinarily, if you look at their operation, you will clearly notice that they are really not operating like normal public sector. That is why, in terms of operation, you will see that they have standard, they have minimum standard. So most of these things I'm talking about, honestly, it's not really targeting at them, but other places that, as in ministries, agencies that are equally important, we need to model those organizations that are doing well. It's clear once you look at, for example, if you take FRS, to know that they are doing well is if you can, if there is time now, I can plot a graph of the tax collection of FRS in the last 10 years. You will see how they keep on growing. That is the mandate. Their target, what government asks them to do is to collect revenue for the government. And that is what they are doing. And they are achieving it. So other organizations, what is the mandate of that organization? Are they achieving? If they are achieving, we should see results. You know, so recommendation for future direction is one of the things that we need. We need to develop strategies for improvement. Like I said, many a times, in many ministries, departments, and agencies, you will see that training budget is so small compared to their overall budget. Honestly, you need to invest in your staff as long as you want to have good results. You know, it's just like that discussion of, is it Steve Jobs or who, that they were having a conversation with his COO when he was saying there is need for them to train their staff. And the CEO said, what if we train them and they left? And he now replied that, what if we did not train them and they stay? You know, so you just don't have to think that if you train your staff, they will leave you. What if you did not train them and they stay? You are going to be having garbage in, garbage out. And again, you have to have a clearly defined performance metrics. This we must make sure that we, inculcate in all our performance management system. And we should ensure that there is accountability culture. One of the issues that we are having now is that this lack of accountability. Every now and then, if you listen to news, you will see the number of people EFCC is, going after. It's because there is no accountability. There is no reason why you will be given a responsibility. The money that is earmarked to, like do a particular project, somebody will just take it away. It's the issue of accountability. We need to also use technology. Gone were the days when we will continue doing manual job. To be honest, if we really want to do well in terms of performance, we need technology. Technology improves performance. It streamlines data collection. It enhances transparency. So in conclusion, I want to say that performance management system in the public service is so ineffective. I want you to understand that I'm not talking about few agencies that are doing well. I'm talking about other states. I really don't want to mention the name of a state, but there are states in Nigeria. You have friends, go around, find out from them. In fact, apology, let me still give you this story. And I tell you, this story happened. Somebody was traveling from Kaduna to Abuja. On his way along the road, he was driving actually. He saw a young lady by the roadside, her vehicle spoiled, it was faulty. He was contemplating whether to stop by and give her support or not. He just decided, it's a lady, let me just help. He parked. As he stopped and parked, he went to her, established what was the issue, and he advised her that this place is not good for you. Let's just, since there are people here, let's leave this car with them, beg them that tomorrow you will come back with mechanic to check it. But it's already evening, leave this place. She agreed to his suggestion. Follow him, enter his vehicle. That guy, of course, as they were, he was driving, she now engaged him. How are you? Where do you work? This and that, this and that. Which state are you from? He mentioned his state. She now said, oh, where do you work in your state? He said, I'm a local government staff. She said, local government? Do you want to be director instead? He said, how? She said, do you want to be director? He said, of course, yes. If I will be that, I can do it. Already I'm HOD in the local government, blah, blah, blah. She said, don't worry. She picked her phone, called the governor of that state, and said, see my brother, I want you to give him director. He said, why? He said, no, I want you to give him director. That is all I want. That's my request. That guy said, okay, I can't say I will give him director, but I have an agency that I've been looking for somebody that I will give to head. I will give him, send his CV. Immediately that time, that guy, the lady collected his CV through her WhatsApp. She now forwarded the CV to wherever. That person, as I speak to you, is now chief executive of one agency in his state. My point here is there are a lot is happening, so much in different states. So sometimes if we mention something, it's not really speaking to a particular state that this is state that is doing well. No, there are other places that are not doing well. And I have quite a number of network that we hear what is going on. So like I said, just imagine the amount of investment in the power sector from 1999 to date. Still, this Nigeria you are seeing, we cannot boost up generating 5,000 megawatts. And again, I want to say something. ECM Adiola mentioned that sometimes it's not about the generation. The generation can generate as many megawatts as possible, but the transmission is still performance issue. It's still performance issue. How can you generate? And somebody that is his duty, is his responsibility, that is his mandate, that should be his KPI to transmit, and he's not transmitting. It's performance issue. Just look at this thing. Countries like Egypt have total generating capacity of 59,680 megawatts. We are still talking about 5,000 in Nigeria. In Morocco, they generate electricity from coal, 4,257 megawatts. You know, from gas, they generate 870 megawatts. From their hydropower, they generate 1,395. From solar, they generate 740. From wind, they generate 1,556 megawatts. This put together is what is powering their nation, their country. My dear colleagues, the essence of this discussion, like I said, is to spark the conversation. We did not do anything as far as performance management in the public sector is concerned. We just touch surface. I just say, let's just brush it so that we all begin to look inward and be asking questions. What is really going on? Where are we getting it wrong? What can we do to make it better? Thank you so much, my ECM, for giving me the opportunity to share with you. And thank you, esteemed colleagues. I've listened to you, to your contribution. I really enjoyed your contribution and participation. Do have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye from me. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, ECM Aminu Yao. This has been an excellent, timely, critical session. Thank you so much. You know, it's on a lighter note, I was in Egypt. I spent about a week or two. Lights did not blink. I spent over 2 weeks in Marrakesh, in Morocco. Lights did not blink. To show that all this data you are projecting to us is not audio data, is very, very valid. Thank you for this enriching session. I would like to briefly call. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. The only one thing that is outstanding now is for us to appreciate our erudite facilitator tonight. I can't wait for you to get your doctorate. My ECM, this 2025, I'm available to support you on a serious note. Please, let's unmute and thank ECM Aminu Yao. Let's express our gratitude, please.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations in advance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this sector.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you. And congratulations in advance. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, ECM.
Thank you, sir.